Yes, you just made a great decision clicking on this video. Now, you're going to have to drop the awful dopamine issues that everyone has. I know you want to pick up your phone and stop scrolling already. I know you already want to click off the video because it's not had some crazy thing popping up in front of your eyes. But if you watch this video all the way to the end, you're going to step away with all of the value and knowledge completely for free, which is rare nowadays. And that is what I'm here to do, is help, right? I genuinely care about people getting better when it comes to fitness, self-development, discipline, improvement, mental improvement, everything. So watch out, reap the benefits, and let's get straight into it. Bit of background for myself if you are new watching this. I'm 20 years old. I've won bodybuilding shows in the past. I've pretty much been training for 4 years solid now. I don't really focus too much on bodybuilding now. I am more focusing on building my online coaching business, which is a very cool thing to be doing at such a young age. And I am super passionate about it and just helping people get better every single day. That is literally my calling in life. But who cares? Who actually cares? You're already getting bored and the dopamine is... it's not there. So let's get straight into it. In this, I'll break down what actually is discipline, why it's so important, how to keep a hold of it during the harshest times, remembering your why, and psychological hacks that you can bring into life in order to take you from this guy here who was definitely lacking discipline to this guy. Way better position, I can promise you that. Anyhow, it's a bit of a wordy one, but I'm just going to skim through it and then summarize the bits that are super important and valuable for you. So yes. What is discipline? We all know what discipline is. Doing the hard stuff when it's the last thing you want to do. But number one, and I'm going to break this down into 6 things, but mainly boring, then reassuring. That is practically what discipline is. Number one, discipline is doing what matters even when you don't feel like doing it. And it doesn't have to be punishment. It doesn't have to be being strict for the sake of it, sort of like that grind mentality. It's choosing actions that push you toward the life you actually want. Yeah, so we all have this picture of this life that we want in our head. And a lot of the times that can be wrapped in ego, right? The fast cars, the girls, the wealthiness, whatever your idea of success is, and feeling happy, which is all the feeling that as a human you are chasing constantly. Discipline is aligning your actions towards your goals, regardless of how you feel on that day. That's all it is. Number 2, it's the bridge between I wish and I did. So everyone has goals, everyone has a different idea of success, like I just said. Discipline is what separates the person who sticks with them from the guy who talks about them. So yeah, it's all talk, right? Social media, people talking about being successful, working hard, training every day, working on their business every day. But that is the difference, right? It's if you actually do it. Doing it instead of wishing that you're doing it, or saying that you're going to do it. That's a major difference when it comes to discipline. And then consistency over moments of flow state. Motivation comes and goes. Discipline is the system you rely on when motivation disappears, which it will. We all have those days where we're driving in the sun, we feel great, we literally feel like we're on top of the world, and that is called flow state. You feel like you could smash a million tasks that day, you feel like you've had the best gym session, everything's progressed, life feels great. That is flow state, and it's important to try and stay in that flow state for as long as possible and as much as your time as possible. But ultimately, the human condition falls back to comfort. That is the natural human condition. Pretty much survival, just wanting to be comfortable. And so with that, discipline helps us carry through those moments of wanting to be comfortable and make sure our actions are aligned towards our goals, right? So yes, discipline isn't natural at first, it is built. Yeah, so it's a practice, just like growing a muscle. You do your reps with your bicep curls, you eat your protein, you eat carbs, you eat fats, and your muscle grows. It's the exact same thing with discipline, and I sort of learned that the hard way, ultimately going into trying to improve my discipline by thinking that all these sort of little hacks would get me there, right? When ultimately it's just something that you need to practice, just like anything else in this world. To get good at it, it's all about the repetitions. So yeah, most lads struggle with it early in their 20s. That's normal. You're not broken, you just haven't trained the skill yet, 100%. So that's something worth mentioning. Like, early 20s can be a really hard spot when it comes to discipline, and knowing that you have these responsibilities and this sort of idea of success in your head now that you've fully developed as a person, and you just are lacking the discipline, and it's huge and it's scary and it makes you feel anxious, but you need to train the skill, which we'll get into. And it is self-respect in action. So when you follow through, you prove to yourself that you can trust yourself. That confidence carries over into everything: training, work, relationships, lifestyle. It's mega. Adopting that new identity gives you the self-respect, right? So if you said to yourself, I'm going to go to the gym 5 times this week, and you didn't end up going to the gym at all, then you're going to have a constant underlying feeling of guilt, which is one of the most negative emotions to carry through your life. So making promises and not breaking them is one of the best things you can do. Otherwise, you'll feel shit, basically. Discipline gives you freedom. The more control you build over your daily habits, the more freedom you gain long term, financially, physically, and mentally. No more to be said there. Boring and then reassuring. That is the summarization of discipline. Starts off feeling boring, doing the reps, and then it's reassuring when you get the results. Bang. So why is it so important? 4 key principles to break down. Discipline turns good intentions into real outcomes. So when you have your, again, idea of success, right, this in your head, and everyone's is different. This might be living in a wooden cabin in the woods in Canada. This could be having a Ferrari. This could be having a wife. Everyone's idea of success is different. And discipline will turn your intentions of, wanting that good life, wanting to work that good life into real outcomes, because it is genuinely the truth. You can build anything you want in this life if you put in the work. And I'm fully aware of that, and I'm also fully aware that I'm not putting in as much work as I could be doing if I wanted to build an even crazier life. Full blown. Like, you've got to think it is genuinely the people, unless you're born into family wealth or whatever, but it is genuinely the people 9 times out of 10 who do something absolutely ridiculously crazy that make it huge in life. Just like crazy amounts of work, crazy amounts of failure, and still going. You can do anything in this life. It's 100% possible, and it comes down to that discipline of carrying through regardless of how crummy things get. If you can control yourself, you can control your life. This is huge, especially as a man. There's lots of temptation out there. Substances, females, dopamine, everything, bad food, such a scale of things out there. And if you can show to yourself that you have control, then you control your life, right? You have ultimate control over everything. Because if you can literally project into the world that if you can control your initial intentions, and say to yourself, I'm going to go to the gym 5 times this week, and then actually go and have control over yourself first, then you have control over your life ultimately. Because, for an example, even if something really bad happened, you broke your leg or something like that, which is out of your control, right? It's life throwing you sort of a jab, then you still have the discipline to hold yourself accountable throughout that hard time, and push through regardless. So you have ultimate control over everything. Your future is built by the choices you make when nobody's watching. That is huge, and there's not much really to be said. That sort of is all that needs to be said. Your future is built by the choices you make when nobody's watching. It's very easy to work hard when your business mentor is looking down on you, or your coach is looking down on you. But when nobody's watching, late night when the fucking snack cupboard's open, or it's raining and you don't want to go to the gym and no one will know, that is the moments that build right on the discipline. Mega. Nobody is going to be watching, and you still have to do the tough decisions, the carrying through on your intentions. Comfort is the killer. Discipline is the builder. Like I said, humans are natural what we resort to is comfort. We'll always fall back to that. It is survival mode, especially like you can feel it in winter, right? In a British winter, you can literally feel as soon as those colder days start coming, you want to lay in longer, you don't want to go and train, you want to eat that nice food, you want to have, those vices, because we fall back into that survival mode, right? It's almost like hibernation. So yeah, comfort is the killer and discipline is the builder. That is really how you get to the places you want to be in life. And then how to use it to get them through the harsh times. So ultimately, life throws everyone's shit, right? Broken arm, I didn't fucking want that to happen. I was bulking for like a whole year before that happened, just started cutting, and I broke my arm like 2 months into dieting. Crazy, but shit happens. Same with this, terrible, dreadful acne that completely fucked my self-confidence and could have given me the excuse to, just stop going to the gym, sit and sulk and feel sorry for myself, fucking smoke, drink, anything, right? Because I felt absolutely dreadful. Okay, same way with anything in life. And then obviously, you know, the same here. Fat, fucking felt like shit, etc. Life throws everyone shit. Even the happiest people that you see on Instagram with the Ferraris, Lamborghinis, etc., they have their own set of problems. Trust me. Probably a little bit better though when you can jump in a Ferrari when you're feeling sad. That is true. So it's really as simple as this, and you have probably heard this before. It's not meant to be easy. That's why so many people are average or below average. And if you accept that straight away and just appreciate the easy times when they come, you start winning. So what I mean by that ultimately is, as soon as you go on your journey of self-improvement or trying to build that business, trying to build that physique, appreciating straight away that it's genuinely just going to be shit most of the time, and sometimes it's going to feel good, is the best mindset that you can go into it with. Because realistically, it is not meant to be easy. Things that require dedication in order to get you to an end goal are always going to have their trials and tribulations, right? And as soon as those hard moments hit, you've got to literally think to yourself, it is meant to feel this way. It is meant to feel fucking hard. You know, I've been eating all this food, I feel like shit, and I still feel like I'm not growing any muscle. It is meant to be hard. I've been working on my business and I've posted every day for 5 months straight and I haven't got any videos do well yet. It's meant to be hard. That's exactly how it's meant to feel. Yeah, and then when the easy times come around, just appreciating them and taking a step back and being like, wow, this is a great feeling. With that, it is vital to never base your routine off of your emotions. This means showing up on the worst days, even if that means shrinking tasks. So yeah, we all have shitty days, and if a shitty day comes around, which it will, could be this week, could be next week, could be tomorrow, then taking a step back and at least doing the tasks, but maybe just shrinking them. That will keep you in the loop of discipline. So if it has to be going to the gym for an hour instead of 2 hours, at least you've gone to the gym, right? It's better than not going to the gym. And I mean that in all scenarios, you know, even if you're really, really ill or something like that, still getting up and doing your steps, still trying to get moving. Keeping that discipline is huge because it slips so easily with the human nature of wanting to be comfortable. Most importantly, remembering your why. So, remembering your why. Now, I could have done a separate fancy slide for this, but realistically, this comes down to a real chat, right? Real meaningful face-to-face chat to you, whoever's watching this. This is the biggest thing with life and your goals, your ambition, your purpose, everything is remembering your why. And the best way to do this is, first of all, figuring out your why. And this might be super easy for some, you know, like I want to prove to my parents that I'm a good person. I want to never feel that way that I did when I was, 15. I want to feel more confident in my clothes. And narrowing down your why straight away and making that crystal clear in your head is vital, because if things get really tough, which they will at some point inevitably, you have to remember your why. This is going to take you through absolutely everything. This is what's going to, grab your hand and pull you out the swamp, right? Is remembering your why. Because regardless of how tough things get, if you can take a step back and think about why you're actually doing this, then it will ultimately rewire in your brain the reasoning as to all of this hard work you're doing, even if it's not paying off. And so it is so vital to just immediately get that solidified in your brain. The why. Why do I do this every day? Why do I do these reps every day? And always falling back on it, even if you have to write it down and visualize it. Just make sure it's always prominent in your brain to push you forward and keep you going through the hardest of times. And it's different for everyone, right? So recognizing that and just cracking on. Sound. So on to the last bit, the psychological hacks. These 4 I take with me everywhere. These are the most most beneficial, the ones that work the best for me. Super powerful stuff. So number 1 is the 2-minute rule, which is all about killing resistance. So your brain hates to start tasks, right? We all hate starting tasks, things like admin, work, etc. We hate to get in and just start. So tell yourself that you only need to do 2 minutes of the task, right? Tell yourself, I'm going to do 2 minutes and then I'm going to be done. Once you start, that momentum will kick in and you usually keep going. So 9 times out of 10, if you literally just throw yourself into a task and just say fuck it, I'll put it down in 2 minutes. You're going to want to keep going and just get it done. So use that trick next time around, and I can promise that will help big time. And yeah, that bypasses the mental battle completely. It's like an actual psychological trick. I've forgotten what the statistic is on it, but there's something about just starting and telling yourself you'll stop that helps. Anyhow, 2, identity first, actions second. So stop saying I want to be disciplined, start saying I'm the type of guy who does what needs to be done. Yeah, so don't view discipline as this thing that you need to start doing, right? View it as something that you need to adopt into your lifestyle, something that is going to become you. You are disciplined, you're not trying to be disciplined. Acting like the person you want to become makes your brain adopt that identity, and identity drives behavior way more than motivation ever will. So if you link your, who you are to these things like discipline, then you're going to feel so much worse when you break those certain things compared to if you're just doing it out of, pure motivation or wanting to, oh, I'm just going to be disciplined this week. Adopt it to your identity, make it who you want to become. Number 3, stack your habits. So yeah, if you link a new behavior to something you're already doing, so for me, I started off like when I brushed my teeth, I would stretch, because when I was in the off season with gym, I used to find it really hard to find the time to stretch, and I just knew that it would benefit me if I did it, but I wasn't doing it enough. So I used to link it to my other habits. So yeah, stacking your habits. Brush your teeth, which you've already created a habit because you've done it since you were a child, and then stretch straight after, and then it's going to link those 2 things together to make them non-negotiables, and it's going to mean you're going to start doing it every day. Same thing after my morning coffee, planning your day, getting it scheduled out. Just linking those things can be super helpful. Habits stick better when they're attached to an existing routine. Facts. Use the stuff you already have in your life. And then make the environment do the heavy lifting. So your environment beats your willpower. If your room is messy, your routine will be messy. If junk food is in sight, you'll eat it. If your gym clothes are laid out, you'll train. Yeah, and the same way, if you have a bad bunch of mates, I hate to say it, but you are probably going to have a bad bunch of habits. So thinking to yourself, is my environment optimal towards those actions that I need to align to get towards my goals? Am I going to take action in this environment, or is this an environment that's going to hold me back? And immediately killing it if it is an environment that's going to hold you back, because that is no good whatsoever. I promise you that. Nonetheless, that is the end of the slide, and I appreciate you for watching. I hope you've taken some value from this. This is super important stuff when it comes to physique development, getting better as a person in general, and just progressing on those goals. So yeah, let me know if you found it helpful, and always message me on Instagram for any more information regarding any of this. Always happy to help. But yeah, thank you very much for watching indeed. See you in the next one.